Hello learners and welcome to week 12 of medieval history. We're going to continue with feudal honor codes and values. And this week you're going to be working on checkpoint number 4, and then remember to take your content assessment when you're feeling prepared. And more and more learners are taking their content assessments, which is absolutely wonderful. Okay, as we continue on with checkpoint number 4. Okay, some essential questions again. How do rules and expectations for behavior represent the values of the society they are part of? And how did the feudal honor codes of Bushido and chivalry represent the values of that time period? And then again, we are down to inquiry argument preparation, checkpoint number 4. And here's another video on feudalism. So I've been trying to show you some short little videos just to kind of give you some different ideas on it.
Feudalism is a term invented in the 19th century to describe how society was structured during the High Middle Ages. That's between 1000 and 1300 AD. The feudal system was based on the exchange of land and services. Under the feudal system, all the land in the kingdom belonged to the king. He would then parcel out large estates to great lords known as tenants-in-chief in exchange for their military and political support. These great lords then parceled out smaller portions of the land to lesser lords on similar terms, who did the same to local lords, who did the same to peasants. The feudal system had its own vocabulary. A king or lord who gave land to a lesser lord became the latter's overlord. The person receiving the land became the vassal of the person who granted it, and the land itself was called a fief. A vassal was not necessarily a minor figure. Everyone in the feudal system below the king was a vassal, even the greatest lords in the land. Even the King of England was a vassal to the King of France for the lands he had inherited there. By the later Middle Ages, though, feudalism had largely disappeared from Europe. This was the result of a number of factors. Firstly, medieval kings grew less reliant on their great lords to provide soldiers for their armies, turning instead to professional paid soldiers. This weakened the bonds of feudalism built on the obligation to provide military service. Secondly, the Black Death, which arrived in England in 1348, significantly reduced the population available to work the land. Those who were lucky enough to survive the epidemic had increased bargaining power and could increasingly choose where they worked and demand higher wages. This meant that the nobility gradually lost their control over the lower and middling ranks in society, who could now afford to buy their own land. Finally, increasing urbanization and a greater reliance on a money economy rather than a land economy also contributed to the decline of feudalism. So to recap, the great lords were no longer expected to provide military service to the king. The peasants were increasingly free to live and work where they wanted, and money replaced manpower as the key agent of economic and political power. Whilst feudalism declined in England from the 14th century onwards, it was not formally abolished until the 10 Years' Abolition Act of 1660. In other European countries, the end of feudalism came much later. France abolished feudalism after the 1789 revolution, and Russian peasants had to wait until 1861 to be made free. Amazingly, the last remaining traces of feudalism in the British Isles made it into the 21st century, until finally abolished by the Scottish Parliament in June 2000, with the Abolition of Feudal Tenure Act to take effect in November 2004.
Okay, so hopefully you picked up some new facts about feudalism, since that's what we've been working on so much over the last few weeks. This week, with checkpoint number 4, it's asking you, how did the feudal honor codes of Bushido and chivalry represent the values of their respective societies? So you're going to come up with a claim, and then under that, under the quote that helps you answer the argumentative claim. So find some quotes and some information that's going to help you form your claim. Tell me what resource, summarize a quote in your own words, explanation of how it proves your claim. So you'll tell me, how did the honor codes represent the values of their respective societies? Like I said, find the quotes, find the resources to back it up. If you need to go back into checkpoint number 3, I believe this is where this came from, you go through and you find lots of great information that you can use to back up your argument. Okay, and of course the breakdown again, and we're on project number 2. If you have not finished project number 1, please make sure you're going in and doing that as soon as you can. Okay, and as you can see, the line keeps moving. I'd like to see lots and lots of green here. Okay, so again, the focus area for this project, what was medieval Japan like? Go in, look at the resources, and then make sure you are requesting to take the content assessment. Okay, Google Classroom, just keeping up in Google Classroom, and then of course your pace chart, you can see we're at checkpoint number 4 on week 12. Okay, so we have checkpoint 5, checkpoint 6, and we'll have the final products to complete right around Thanksgiving. Okay, so any questions or concerns, please reach out to me, and if not, you have a great week. Thanks, bye.